What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Real Word Podcast, a place where real thoughts, real ideas, and real words come to life. I'm your host, Drew, coming from San Diego, California. Thank you for stopping by, tuning in, checking out the channel. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit up all those links down below. And now we can get into the episode. It is December 21st, 2020. It's Monday morning. It's close to 8 o'clock in the morning. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good and decent, happy weekend. We're about 4 or 5 days from Christmas. If you celebrate it, happy holidays to anybody who doesn't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that kind of stuff. Just happy holidays to everybody. But here we celebrate and recognize Christmas, which is coming up, I believe, on Friday. So that's exciting, even though it's gonna be less exciting this year. I don't know. I try and not get too... Got my coffee here. I was about to take a sip, but I was gonna get into this for a second. I try not to get too overhyped for holidays because I always get up my expectations and it never lives up to it. So this year or so, I've been just trying to downplay a lot of holidays and things like that just to kind of not get myself let down. So that's something I'm learning. But yeah, Christmas is usually a good time, but this one's going to be different. Usually we spend it with our mom and then come see my dad or whatever. My mom's going out of town and she's going to some family in Vegas and stuff like that. So it is going to be a little bit different this time. And my mom's birthday is like Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas. So, you know, it's interesting. This time will be a little bit different, even amongst the complete change of how we're supposed to operate things anyway. But yeah, it's a different year, that's for sure. But for me, I just don't like to get overhyped on holidays anymore because I always seem to get let down. I never know. Dude, it's so stressful. It's like, what do you get for gifts for people? How much do you spend? All this, and you have to think of gifts to tell people to get you, and you can never think of anything, or it's too expensive for the things you need, and it's just this big mess, a stressful mess, but it's still a nice time. It's winter, you know, seeing all the lights out and all of that. It's still a good time, but for me, I've just always upped my expectations for Christmas, for my birthday, for all these holidays. And it just never goes the way I kind of see it in my head. So that's kind of something, you know, we can all work on, is just not getting your hopes up, not getting too hyped up. Don't get your expectations too high for anything, really, because then if you do get let down, you weren't expecting much anyway. So that's where I'm at, where I kind of have been leaning, especially this year with holidays and things. But this year is a different year in general. But I don't know if anybody's out there paying attention. I didn't get to an episode of the Real Word Podcast last week. A lot of just mental health stuff going on where I just couldn't do it. So that's on me. That's definitely my doing. And I really can't be doing that, especially if I want to, continue this and kick this off and, stay on top of it. I can't be missing weeks like that. But to be honest, I was just going through some stuff. I don't really want to talk about it because it is pretty personal and dealing with a couple of different people and stuff like that. So for me, I'm just going to internalize this one and just kind of deal with it myself and figure things out on my own. But also, man, I'm freaking out over my income being depleted, not getting any more money. So that's a challenge. We're going to talk a little bit about that stimulus check that's supposed to be coming in. Hopefully approved today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I've just been kind of struggling over this last week just with some personal stuff, and yeah, it's just what I gotta work on. I gotta figure things out on my own, and it's frustrating. It's a frustrating time because I thought I was doing the right thing, but it seems like every single time I make a decision to try and move forward with life, it backfires on me, and it just never goes smooth. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with like getting your expectations up and then being let down. So it's like, yeah, I was planning to move forward with some things, made the moves to kind of do that, and when I made those moves, everything just started falling apart. So it's just really frustrating. I don't understand it. Again, I'm kind of being vague with this, but I'm not gonna put anybody on blast or anything like that. It's just some personal stuff that I'm going through, and I'm gonna just kind of keep it kind of to myself. But I'm just trying to lay out some of the details, I guess. I don't really know. It's a frustrating time though. It's like I try to advance and I try to make these moves, but it just kind of backfires on me every single time. And that's been like how it goes for me always. It's like whenever I'm like, okay, I'm done with this, let's try and move on, let's move forward. And then everything just falls apart. It happens in my jobs, it happens in relationships, it happens in everything. So I don't really understand it. I had my therapy appointment this past Thursday, and honestly, this is probably my last one, or I was doing it twice a month, but I might have to just go to once a month, and I don't know. I can't afford it. I know my mom said she would help like once a month or whatever with my appointments. So that's nice. That's good. But I told my therapist I can't afford this right now. I'm not making any money. I'm really stressed. And it sucks because this comes at like the worst time. It's like I'm super stressed with the money, relationship issues, all that kind of stuff. And now I can't even have my outlet every couple of weeks to talk and try and work on myself. So it's like, because it's too expensive, it's like during some of the worst times when I need it, I can't utilize it, you know? It's really frustrating, and yeah, I don't really know how to deal. I don't know. But we're just pushing through, just gotta, keep it moving. So some interesting stuff happened. I think it was on Friday. Both Eminem and Tom MacDonald released new music. So, okay, one thing. I have not yet listened to the Kid Cudi album or the Call Me Charisma album. I did listen to this new Eminem album, The Music to Be Murdered by Side B, or the B-sides or whatever. Because it's Eminem, man. It's like whenever he drops, it's like you have to listen to it. I don't know. I'm telling you, I have my issues with Eminem now, but he's still one of my favorite artists. It's like I still have to like go and listen to it, pay my respects, all that. And this album was fine. It was decent. It's like, dude, okay, we get it. You can fucking rap, man. We get it. But there was those few disses towards MGK that you can hear throughout the album. I think there's like 2 or 3 tracks where he kind of mentions them or subliminally mentions them. So that was interesting. And then there was this one couple bars in Book of Rhymes, I think is what it's called, where it just really connected with me. The first go through, I listened to it, I heard these couple bars where he's talking about borderline bipolar disorder, eyes rolling back in my head like Eli Porter. I was like, dude, Eli Porter, he's talking about Eli Porter? Like, that's insane to me. Go check out the worst rap battle in history. Type that in on YouTube. It should pop up. I remember watching this video over a decade ago, probably like 12 something years ago. And maybe last year, a buddy was over and we happened to throw that on. And I showed my buddy this video. But it's just hilarious that Eminem brought up Eli Porter. I didn't catch it the first time around. I first heard the borderline bipolar disorder, and I was like, oh, okay. I knew Eminem had something to do with some borderline as well. As soon as I found out, I was like, Eminem has it. I went and searched some stuff up. Couldn't really find anything. There were some theories that he could possibly have it or whatever, but I was like, when I found out that that's kind of what I was dealing with, I was like, Eminem, that, like, obviously that's why I relate to him so much. It's that anger, that abandonment, that, like, you know, he's using that as his outlet, and I completely felt it 100%. And then this song, he kind of solidifies it, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. And then the second time, because of that line, I had to listen to the song again the following day. Listened to it again and heard the Eli Porter part. I was like, dude, no way. Because he has, like, I forget his name, but he has, like, one of his hype man from D12 or whatever is like Mr. Porter. So initially I thought he was talking about that, but then I heard it the second time and I heard him say Eli Porter. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, eyes rolling back in his skull like Eli Porter. And oh my god, I was dying, dude. I was laughing. I was like, no way. I was excited. I felt like it was like a little Easter egg just for like me. Sent it to my brother and he's like, dude, what the heck? He brought up Eli Porter. That video's so old. So it's pretty funny. But I thought it was a pretty solid album. You know, it was good. You know, it's Eminem, dude. It's like I don't listen to him like on a daily like I used to anymore, but every time I listen to him I'm like, fuck. He's so good still. Like I just don't get it, dude. He's still so amazing at rapping and wordplay, and you know, I think everybody does want that old Slim or that old Eminem or whatever, whereas more that storytelling, like hit you in the heart type of thing. But now it's just like he's just on that hibbity hop, hip hop, rappity rap, fast back, rappity back, like that type of stuff. And I don't know, it's cool, it's great, it's amazing, but it just doesn't hit like that old Eminem hits. But he'll sprinkle those songs like throughout here and there, you know, but I don't know. It's different. It's obviously different than it was when he was coming up, but you know. And this album, it was like it had the top 15 spots on iTunes, and then all of a sudden Tom MacDonald had his song Best Rapper Ever. Shout out to Tom MacDonald, man. Dude's amazing. Dude is amazing. And when he was trying to like push himself, push the song up, trying to promote it, and all of that, he paid his respects to Eminem. He's like, dude, like Eminem is the reason why I started rapping. Like he's the reason, he's the best, he's the GOAT, like all this stuff. But Tom MacDonald actually, through his like presence online, just kept pushing, telling people to download, support, all this stuff. And shout out to the fans. They got his song Best Rapper Ever to beat all of Eminem's album. Like I said, Eminem had the top 1 through like 15 spots on the iTunes hip hop chart. Tom MacDonald slowly kept taking one song out, kept taking a couple songs out, he got number 1, dude, and it was still number 1 yesterday on hip hop iTunes chart. So shout out to Tom MacDonald for taking out Eminem at the number 1 spot. That's awesome, man. For a newer artist, I know Tom MacDonald's not new, but for a newer artist, white rapper, to take out and surpass Eminem on the charts, like that's insane. You don't drop music or videos the same day that Eminem does. Like that usually goes really bad for you, you know? But this time it worked out for Tom MacDonald. Seems like the supporters really wanted him to get that number 1 spot, and that's pretty awesome. It was an amazing song too, don't get me wrong. Like it's a really great song. It has that Eminem feel to it. Like where he's kind of battling his demons back and forth, like My Darling, or Be Careful What You Wish For, or 25 to Life, or anything like that from Eminem. It reminded me of this song from Tom MacDonald, Best Rapper Ever. But it was a great song, great video, great visual. Shout out to his girlfriend, wife, whatever, Nova Rockefeller. She kills it with the videos. Tom MacDonald just kills it with the lyrics and the content, man. And they are a great team together for sure. It's pretty cool to see them kind of killing it as independent artists. So shout out to both of them, man. And taking that #1 spot, that's pretty awesome. That is some really fascinating stuff and just really cool to see. Like I said, for an independent artist to be taking out the top guy is awesome, man. It's really awesome. And I know Tom MacDonald, he had to make a shirt. He like took a screenshot or whatever of his song #1, and then Eminem 2 and 3, and then he put that on a shirt or whatever and is going to be selling it. So go get that merch from Tom MacDonald if you want. There's a couple shirts that I want from him. Just haven't got it yet. There's a few artist shirts. I want a Charisma shirt as well, if he still is going to have it by the time I'm able to afford it. But yeah, there's a handful of shirts from artists that I want. I think that'd be cool to just kind of wear on the podcast. It's just different artists that I support and mess with, their t-shirts and stuff like that. Man, I wouldn't even mind getting some of, like, you know, Chappelle Lacey's, his merch, and you know, stuff like that. Theo Vaughn, and you know, I'm not really into the thick boy, but shout out to Brendan Schaub as well, you know. But it'd be cool to start supporting those guys who I kind of, you know, mess with on a daily or weekly basis. And then music-wise as well, you know. I don't listen to as much music as I once did, but the artists that I mentioned are who I still kind of keep in heavy rotation. I will say, I have never heard of this guy before. We're going to keep it on the music subject before we get into the articles. I might have to readjust some things because, like I said, it's been about a week since I've done an episode of this, so I'm just kind of talking right now. I do have some articles that I did want to get to, but when my aunt was staying over here, she introduced me to this artist. He's a handful of years older. Like, he's been doing it for a handful of years from what I've seen and noticed, but he was new to me. Hobo Johnson. Dude, shout out to that guy. Yeah, my aunt started playing him when she was over here for a week or so, and I was like, who is this guy? This is different. And I wasn't really sure about it at first, but then I sat down and listened to it. I was like, I really enjoy this. It's really unique and just different. It reminded me of certain people, but also sounded like nothing like anything else that I've heard, you know? Is really interesting. But I really enjoyed it. So shout out to Hobo Johnson. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He's definitely like unique. This rapper, but also singer-songwriter type of thing. Spoken word, I guess, is what you would want to say. Emo rap type thing. I don't really know exactly how you would categorize it, but just interesting, that's for sure. That's kind of how I'll categorize it. It's just interesting. But yeah, shout out to all the musicians out there, all the artists who are keeping it going and doing their thing, especially in the midst of the pandemic. I don't know if Hobo Johnson has done anything during COVID or anything like that. A lot of the stuff that I was watching has been about a year, 2 years, 3 years old or something like that. But Hobo Johnson, it's good, man. I really enjoyed it. I really do enjoy that music. It's just so different. It really is so different. But yeah, let's move on from the music stuff and get into a couple articles here. What do we have going on today? Let's get into it. All right. So, Congress to pass deal with $600 stimulus checks. This is from The Hill. A second round of stimulus checks is included in a roughly $900 billion coronavirus relief deal announced by congressional leadership on Sunday night. The agreement announced by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on the floor includes a $600 check for individuals who make up to $75,000 per year. Though it's the same income cap included in the March CARES Act, the amount of the check is half of the $1,200 for individuals that was included in the earlier bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, announced the details of the agreement on stimulus checks early Sunday evening. In addition to a $600 check for individuals, the deal also provides a $600 check per child. The decision to include stimulus checks comes after a second round of direct payments was left out of a deal unveiled earlier this month by a bipartisan group of lawmakers, as well as a separate GOP-only proposal circulated by McConnell. But there was support for another round of checks on both sides of the aisle. House progressives pushed for their inclusion, and Senators Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders teamed up to try to get the second round to match the $1,200 included in the March bill. Hawley called inclusion of the $600 check hardly adequate, but also a step in the right direction. The fact we can spend so much on every other priority under the sun tells you where the priorities are in Congress, he told reporters. But I do want to see the relief go to working families, so I'm likely to support this on the basis and pretty much on that basis alone. President Trump pushed on Twitter for more direct payments, but Senator Lindsey Graham, a close ally of the president, predicted that he would ultimately accept the $600 amount. He's okay with the direct payments, Graham said of Trump. He'd probably do more. McConnell pointed to the president as the reason the checks were included. At the particular request and emphasis of President Trump and his administration, our agreement will provide another round of direct impact payments to help households make ends meet and continue our economic recovery, he said. Wow. So, early on after the first stimulus check, that $1,200 was implemented, there was talks immediately of a second round of stimulus checks. And it just seems like nobody could get the deal done. Other deals were getting done, hush hush about that. The people don't worry about that, but couldn't get a deal done on a second round of stimulus checks for the people, for families and things like that. Businesses were getting bailed out, and then, even well-off businesses were taking some of that money from the payouts and things like that, from the PPE loans or whatever the fuck they were, those loans. Some well-off businesses were taking advantage of that and leaving some of the small businesses to kind of scramble and not know what to do. It's like, yeah, $600, it'll be nice, it'll help a little bit, but that's not even half the rent for some people. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is insane. And then you're still gonna have us on lockdowns, restaurants not be able to open, and you're really restricting us as people. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, and it's a little frustrating that this is the deal that they ended up with, $600. Yeah, I don't want to live in a socialist, communist country where they're just handing out paychecks to people, but they are the ones keeping us controlled and locked down right now, so they should be taking care of the people. But they're not, and they're only letting certain businesses slide. They're letting strip clubs fucking operate, but they're shutting down small businesses, letting Targets go open, but restaurants closed. Like, it doesn't make sense. The logic just does not make sense. And so it's good that they're going to be providing something. Hopefully it gets passed, right? Because nothing is done yet, even though there's talk, oh yeah, it's going to be approved, doesn't mean it is yet. It's not set in stone. So hopefully there's something, but the amount is just ridiculous. It's not okay. And yeah, it's like, what are we going to do? This whole situation is just insane to me. It's like, again, I don't care about the case numbers. I don't trust the ICU percentage. Like, I really don't. We've seen them lie from the beginning. We've seen them change and how they operate from the very beginning. So yeah, I just don't trust the numbers coming out. From what I read, the death total from this year is actually lower on average from the previous handful of years. I wish I had that stat brought up right now. But that was something I read. Don't know if it's true. Don't know, I'm just saying some information that I came across is the deaths are actually less than they were last year. So who knows, man? Who knows? They say we're like losing enough people for a 9/11 a day. Is that how many people normally die every single day anyway, on average? I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I just don't trust any of the information really coming out. I really don't. And it's just a frustrating time. It really is. It's like, I'm kind of freaking out because I need to make some income. I need to make some money. I'm kind of losing it. And we're seeing a lot of people in this position too. And we're seeing a lot of people who are losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods, their family, their job, like everything like that. And then they end up committing suicide, Luckily, I've been going to therapy. I've been, trying to work on myself, trying to be stronger, or else I'd probably be in that position too, man. Like, honestly, I've been very close to doing that. So, luckily, shout out to my family, for the couple of close friends that I do have, my therapist, all of that, for kind of holding me accountable and being there for me, because if not, I don't think I would have made it either. But I am feeling, I'm freaking out, but it's on a lot less level. Like, I just feel like everything's like, things are gonna work out. I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do feel a sense of calm about everything. Like, I'm freaking out on the inside, but also like really calm. It's a weird feeling. So I don't know. But yeah, it's like, at what point which lives matter? Do the suicide lives matter? Because that's been skyrocketing. That percentage has been skyrocketing. Or do the COVID-19 lives matter, even though there's a 99 point something chance that you'll be okay and you'll survive? Like, at what point why are we picking and choosing what lives matter? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the solution should not be worse than the problem, and it seems like that is kind of happening right now. It's like more people are just losing it because of the situation that they've been kind of forced into due to the government and this whole pandemic situation. And kind of speaking about okay, I'll get to that later. I did want to talk more about this, like, COVID-19 stuff. Let's get into this first. So, in Australia, this is from The Hill, new virus strain found in Australia for the first time. So, okay, I don't know, not too many people listen to this, but if you do go back and listen, you will hear me talk about, what happens when they find a mutated virus, like when it's COVID 2020, or COVID 20, not 19. What are they gonna do? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, and now we're starting to see that a lot of my predictions have come true, or have been starting to come true. It's like, earlier on, I was predicting that there could be martial law and, military on, every neighborhood or whatever. That, I don't think it's going to get to that point, but there has been talks about implementing martial law, and some people are all for it. Like a lot of conservative, not a lot, I've seen some conservatives calling for martial law. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I understand it feels like the election got stolen and there's a lot of this fraud that isn't being addressed and things like that, but you guys are gonna call for martial law? You guys want the military out on the streets like that, telling you where you can and can't go and monitoring your every move like that? Like, no thank you. I don't want that, and I don't think it is gonna happen, but there has been talks about it, you know? But yeah, there's been a couple of mutations. This one's from Australia, and then another one is in the UK, so we'll get to that one as well. Health officials in Australia said Monday that they had confirmed 2 cases of the new strain of COVID-19 that spreads faster than its previous mutations. Reuters reported that the chief health officer for New South Wales, Kerry Chant, confirmed 6 new cases of COVID-19 across the state on Monday, including 2 that were believed to be the new fast-spreading strain that forced British authorities to shut down the Christmas shopping season this weekend. Officials confirmed a couple of UK return travelers with the particular mutations, Chant said, adding that no cases are thought to be circulating in the community. Everyone coming from the UK is going into 14 days of hotel quarantine, and they are of no risk as that quarantine works so successfully, added Australia's acting top health official Paul Kelly. News of the strain's arrival in Australia comes just 2 days after UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson warned residents of the dangers presented by the new strain and implemented measures shutting down businesses and restricting gatherings. Vivek Murthy, who was nominated to retake his old position as Surgeon General by President-elect Joe Biden, said on Sunday's Meet the Press on NBC that there's no evidence yet that the new strain of COVID-19 is more deadly than previous iterations. Quote, this news from the UK appears to be about a new strain of the virus that's more transmissible, more contagious than the virus we've seen prior to this, he said. While it seems to be more transmissible, we do not have any evidence yet that it is more deadly, that it is a more deadly virus to an individual who acquires it. So this is what's interesting. It's like initially when the COVID-19 came out, they kind of downplayed it. Fauci and a lot of the science behind COVID-19 were kind of downplaying it, saying masks and you don't need a mask, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it ramped up. Cases started ramping up. People started dying, and then they kind of flip-flopped on their science. And that's what I worry about with this second mutation. If it's real, whatever, you know what I mean? Is they're kind of downplaying it right now, but in 2-3 months it could be the worst thing ever, and they're blowing it all out of proportion, and the science switches again, you know? And that's the thing where it's like Joe Biden's like, I'm gonna trust the science. Well, if you trusted the science, you wouldn't be having people wear masks initially, you know what I mean? Because that's what Fauci and the science was saying. And even still, like, the regular masks that people are wearing do not do anything. They don't really stop the spread. The droplets could still get in the masks unless it's like double layer microbial fibers and all that kind of stuff, and washed at a extremely high heat, industrial style, like washing machines or hospital grade washing machines, something like that. That's the only way. If you're reusing a mask, that's the only way it's gonna work. Like, if you're using the double layer microbial filter, whatever, fibers, that has to be. And then to reuse it, you have to wash it in this hospital grade heat where it will actually kill any viruses or anything like that. And nobody's doing that. People are like putting on their mask, taking it off, reusing it, taking it off, reusing it, adjusting it, playing with their mask. That doesn't do anything. That's not gonna do anything. That's only gonna the illusion, dude, and the optics, and that's just what's so stupid. It's like nobody's doing anything to help prevent the spread of this virus because nobody is really listening to the actual science of what you're really supposed to be doing. Everybody's just listening to the media of what they're supposed to be doing, but when you actually like break it down, go to the CDC, all this, dude, you have to be doing a lot more than just wearing a little mask that you keep taking on and off and you keep adjusting it and all that. It's like, dude, what are we doing here? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This is from Market Watch. UK's new COVID-19 strain is getting on a plane and flying to JFK, warns New York Governor Cuomo. Governor Andrew Cuomo on Sunday called it reprehensible and grossly negligent to allow UK travelers to fly into JFK Airport without being tested, despite a contagious new mutation of the coronavirus shutting down London. Okay, but when Trump was doing these lockdowns and not allowing people to travel, they were calling it racist and xenophobic and all of that stuff, you know? It's like whatever Trump did, it was the wrong move. If he would have let them come in, they'd be, oh my God, he's spreading it. And if they lock him down, oh my God, that's racist. You're not allowed to do that. But now they're saying we need to not allow travel from the UK. Like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Quote, right now, this variant in the UK is getting on a plane and flying to JFK, Cuomo said in a call to reporters Sunday of the mutation. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has warned could be 70% more transmittable. Quote, right now, today, the governor stressed, calling for the feds to impose coronavirus testing of UK travelers at a minimum, if not an outright ban. Literally 6 flights a day, and all it takes is one person, he said, of the possible seed for the new strains to spread. So far, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Ireland, and Bulgaria have all announced bans or strict restrictions on UK travelers since Johnson announced London's lockdown on Saturday. Dang, all those racist countries, man. How are they allowed to do that? That just seems racist, you know? It's not okay. Xenophobia, you know? It's not okay. At least 120 countries also make sure travelers from the UK get a negative test for the coronavirus before letting them in, Cuomo said, saying that Johnson's sudden lockdown so close to Christmas was a clear sign of how apparently dangerous the new mutation has proven. But they were just saying it's not that dangerous. It can be transmitted easier, but it's not dangerous. See, we're already seeing conflicting arguments. Doesn't make sense. You got to pay attention. We have about 6 flights a day. Okay, already read that. Oh no, so they're just reiterating. We have about 6 flights a day coming in from the UK, and we've done absolutely nothing, said Cuomo, who also announced the state has another 9,957 COVID-19 cases and a positive rate of 5.05%. But again, how do we know that that is true? I don't even believe that, not one bit. Quote, to me, this is reprehensible because this is what happens in the spring, he said, blaming New York's wild early spread of the contagion on travelers from Europe rather than directly from the initial epicenter in Wuhan, China. Some 120 countries require testing, we don't. Other European countries have done a ban, we haven't. And today, that variant is getting on a plane and landing at JFK, Cuomo repeated. The Port Authority has no authority to ban passengers, health monitor passengers. Health monitor passengers, it's federal, he said. Doing nothing is negligent. It's grossly negligent, he fumed. How many times in life do you have to make the same mistake before you learn? Cuomo stressed that so far we do not have any evidence that the new strain has reached the U.S., saying that it is fear that kept me up last night. Yeah, of course. It's just fear that you want to keep pushing into people. Fear. Make sure people don't do anything. Keep them inside. Keep them closed down. Keep them from doing anything. Living in fear. That's all it is. That's all that the news is. It's crazy. He also feared that there was only a working assumption that the coronavirus vaccines would be effective against the new strain, saying, the experts have been so wrong, I take it all with a grain of salt to tell you the truth. His statement came shortly after U.S. Assistant Secretary for Health Admiral Brett Geiroer probably got that wrong, insisted there was no reason to do anything other than continue to watch news of the spread in UK. I don't think there should be any reason for alarm right now. He told George Stephanopoulos on ABC's This Week. Viruses mutate. We've seen almost 4,000 different mutations among this virus. There is no indication that the mutation right now that they're talking about is overcoming England. He insisted, saying it accounted for just 20% of cases in one country. So this goes on a little bit more, but, you know, we're going to just continue. And it's just interesting because, again, we're already seeing the inconsistencies, and I just think it's really interesting how they have that movie Songbird. Shout out to my brother. He said he watched it. I still got to watch it. I'm the one who told him about it. I didn't know when it was coming out or anything, but I got to watch that movie. And it's about a mutation of COVID-19. It's COVID-20. And they're under like a 500 something week lockdown, and things are just going crazy. And it just seems like it's very predictive programming. It seems like this is kind of where we could be headed. I don't know. Again, I'd have to watch the whole movie, but it seems like they did this on purpose, and I just think that's really interesting. It really is. So this one goes out to all the vegans who are thinking about taking the vaccine. I would assume a lot of vegans wouldn't, because they're more into a natural, healthy immune system lifestyle, that type of thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's some, liberal, democratic vegans out there who are like, no, let's just take the vaccine and all this stuff. But let's get into this. This is from Newsmax. Vatican says use of COVID vaccines made from aborted fetal tissues is ethical. Are you fucking kidding me? The Pope is going to say that using aborted fetus cells in a vaccine is ethical? Are you kidding me, man? That is insane to me. So now we know. I mean, it's been talked about for a long time. I've known that they've used aborted fetal cells in vaccines for a long time. And I was always called a crazy conspiracy theorist, all this stuff, but we're getting proof right here that that is actually the case. So let's read it. Let's see what it says. The Vatican told Roman Catholics on Monday that it was morally acceptable to use COVID-19 vaccines even if their production employed cell lines drawn from tissues of aborted fetuses. How insane is that? And this is coming from the Catholic Church. Like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? None of that makes sense. None of it makes any sense. That just shows how evil the fucking Pope and the Vatican and the whole Catholic religion is. Fuck that. And if Christian churches are doing that too, fuck them too. Fuck anybody saying it's okay to put aborted fetal cells into your goddamn body. Get out of here. That's insane. That's just insane. Disgusting too. A note from Vatican's doctrinal congregation, the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, said the use of such vaccines was permitted as long as there were no alternatives. How about there is alternatives? It's called your immune system and being healthy. Fucking dumb, dude. Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines have some connections to cell lines that originated with tissues from abortions in the last century, according to the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, which issued a separate note to the American Catholics last week. The Vatican note said that the granting of moral legitimacy was related to the principle differing degrees of responsibility of corporation in cooperation in evil. This meant that because the pandemic is such a grave danger, such vaccines can be used in good conscience with the certain knowledge that it does not constitute formal cooperation with their abortion from which the cells used in production of the vaccines derive. the note said. None of that made any sense to me, but okay. In the absence of safe vaccines made from other sources, it is morally acceptable to receive COVID-19 vaccines that have used cell lines from aborted fetuses in their research and production process. How insane is that the Catholic Church is saying that is okay? Yeah, I know it comes from aborted fetus cells, but it's okay. We don't support that. We don't support abortions. We actually preach against that. But it's okay to take the vaccine that's made with aborted fetal cells. Like, what? What? Crazy, man. This is crazy. The American bishop said the vaccines employed cell lines drawn from the tissues obtained from 2 abortions that took place in the 1960s and 1970s, and that often have been replicated since. The Vatican note said use of such vaccines does not in itself constitute a legitimation, even indirect, of the practice of abortion. What? It urged the pharmaceutical industry to develop completely ethical vaccines, and governments and international organizations to make them accessible to poorer nations. The Vatican note said that while the use of vaccines was voluntary, the common good may recommend vaccination, especially to protect the weakest and most exposed. So that is that article. They are using aborted fetal cells in the vaccine, and everybody called us crazy for saying that, especially over this last year, but now it's coming from the Catholic Church. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? This is insane. It's all insane, man. It doesn't make any sense. How is that okay? But yeah, if you're a vegan, definitely don't be getting that vaccine, because that is some bullshit. Yeah, just rely on your immune system, Just do that. That's what makes more sense. Oh, we got a little bit over 10 minutes to go if we get to that, but let's read this. This is from Daily Mail. Alex Jones says Joe Biden will be removed one way or another, while Rudy's star witness Melissa Carone says Trump is the best president we've had in front of 15,000 protesters at the Million MAGA March. All right, let's get into this. Okay, this is from Alex Jones, I think. We'll never back down to the satanic pedophile globalist New World Order and their Walking Dead reanimated corpse Joe Biden, and we will never recognize him, Jones continued. Oh, that's so funny. It is funny seeing the conservatives and the right kind of act just like how the liberals did in 2016. It is pretty funny to see. Never Biden. Never Biden's not my president. Never Biden. Never Kamala. Never Joe Biden and Kamala. No way. No way. Trump always. It's pretty funny to see. Like, I'm not like that. I'm like, hey, it's whatever. I don't really fuck with either side, but the libertarian side definitely didn't win, but I do see the anomalies going on with this election. I'm not stupid. I can see it. So that's why I talk about it, is because we are seeing it and there is some messed up stuff going on. But anyway, let's continue. Meanwhile, the star witness at Rudy Giuliani's election fraud hearing in Michigan last week claimed that Donald Trump is the best president we have ever had, as she addressed the thousands of Trump supporters who gathered in front of the Supreme Court to protest its decision not to overturn the election results. Man, here it is again. If you've been listening the last few weeks, Melissa Carone, 33, spoke at the Stop the Steal rally in Washington, D.C. on Saturday afternoon, as she vowed to continue exposing the fraud that I saw, despite courts across the country striking down the Trump's numerous lawsuits after they found no evidence of his campaign's voter fraud claims. I don't even think that that's what they were claiming initially. So I think this is kind of fake news a little bit, and a lot of the lawsuits weren't even Trump's lawsuits. Like, he only did a handful of them, I believe. And yeah, nothing ended up going through, but it wasn't based on the content. It was based on procedural. Like, they didn't get it done in time or something like that. But it had nothing to do with the evidence. like the evidence hasn't even been looked over yet. It's all been, a lot of these have been shut down based on procedural things. Anyway, let's continue. Caron, who was criticized for her performance at the Michigan hearing and even became the subject of an SNL sketch, fuck SNL, thanked the massive crowd gathered for their support and claimed that the things that have been said to me lately have been terrible. I will not give up this fight. I will keep exposing the fraud that I saw, and we will win this. We'll take it back. This was a stolen election. This is the most important election of our lives, the mother of two continued. He cares about Americans, and this is for our kids. This is for my children, so they have the right to vote, and I will not stand down to those senators. I won't, she added, of Trump before stopping to take a picture with the crowd. Her comments came after the leader of the controversial far-right group Proud Boys visited the White House on Saturday following the devastating blow to the Supreme Court administered to the Trump campaign the night before. Enrique Tarrio, who heads the movement that has been denounced as an extremist group, posted a photo of the White House on his Parler social media account. Yeah, this guy, Enrique, I believe he is the leader now of the Proud Boys, and he's like Puerto Rican, but yet Proud Boys get called a white supremacist group. Okay, guys, you don't make sense. You guys don't make sense. Last minute invite to an undisclosed location, Tarrio wrote on the social media site, which has emerged among many diehard Trump supporters as a go-to alternative to Twitter. Wow, I'm in awe, Tarrio added. He ended the post with the hashtag Trump2020. White House spokesperson Judd Deere told DailyMail.com on Saturday that Tarrio was on a public White House Christmas tour and that he did not have a meeting with the president, nor did the White House invite him. Thousands of supporters of Trump returned to Washington on Saturday for rallies to back his desperate efforts to subvert the election that he lost to Joe Biden. And I guess there was a little more. They cheered as Trump flew overhead on the Marine One helicopter on his way out of town for Army-Navy football game in West Point, New York. The rallies are intended as a show of force just 2 days before the Electoral College meets to formally elect Biden as the 46th president. So this was about a week ago. Should have looked at that. But yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, and it seems like there's going to be, from my understanding, from what I heard, that on the 6th, January 6th, there's supposed to be this, Million MAGA March, and Alex Jones is going to be there, and that's why he was saying, like, Joe Biden's going to be removed one way or the other, like, one way or another. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We got to keep our eye on it. But that's next year, so let's not worry about it right now. So let's get into something a little more lighthearted, something that hasn't been seen in about 800 years. This is from Fast Company, and this says, here's the best time to see the Christmas star tonight. So be sure to go check it out, if you're able to. From the pandemic to wildfires, most of what nature has given us in 2020 has knocked us for a loop. But with just 10 days left in the year, nature is giving us one last parting gift, and this one is pretty cool. Tonight, what is dubbed the Christmas star will appear in the sky at its peak visibility. The Christmas star isn't actually a star at all, however. It's two of our solar system's largest planets, Jupiter and Saturn, which will appear closer in the sky than they have in over a century. Officially, what is happening with the two planets is called a Great Conjunction. Great because they are the two largest gas giants in our solar system, and because of our perspective from Earth, this Great Conjunction will make it appear as if the two planets are actually touching. If you want to check out the heavenly show, here's the best time and way to see it. This is from KTLA 5. Best time, 45 minutes to 1 hour after sunset begins tonight, Monday, December 21st. From what I heard, I think it's around 5:45 this evening. So be prepared, find a good spot, check it out. Best place. Any place that has an unobstructed view of the sky. So avoiding areas with tall buildings. Also areas with low light pollution are best, such as fields away from buildings and major roadways. Where to look? Up, obviously, and to the southwestern sky. Keep in mind, tonight's Great Conjunction will only have optimal visibility for about an hour, so don't forget to get outside just after your local sunset. You'll be able to view it with the naked eye, but if you have binoculars or a small telescope, you'll be in for an extra special treat. You should be able to see 4 of Jupiter's moons orbiting the planet. Miss it, and you'll need to wait until 2080 to see the next Great Conjunction. So interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know. Space is interesting to me because I don't necessarily believe in space as we know it. Like, I don't think we've ever been to the moon. I don't think we really have. If there is the ISS space station up there, how did we build it? How did that even get done? And, from my understanding, like, now it's in low Earth orbit, and before it wasn't. Like, I don't know all the details. I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. Just go look up any pictures from Earth. It's all, like, CGI pictures. Like, all we're looking at is cartoons when we look this stuff up, man. And I feel like we're dealing with a lot of actors and a lot of just you can go look it up, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff that shows like we're not in space. You could see people who are supposedly in space have like wires on them when they're supposedly doing these flips in space and all that. It's like, dude, you can see the wires, you can see the harness, like all that stuff. So it's like, I don't trust it, man. I really don't trust. There's bubbles in space. Like, you're not supposed to have bubbles in space. That only happens kind of in water, you know? So go check out some of that stuff. I don't believe it, but I am fascinated with the sky, man. Like, the sky is interesting. There's a lot of activity up there, like with comets, asteroids, debris, all that kind of, like, there is, like, stuff is happening. Like, I'm not denying that, but I don't think we really know what planets are. They even said it's gas, like they're gas. And if that's the case, how is it solid? How are we getting to these planets? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it just seems like they just make it up as they go. And that's kind of where we're at. But, I do like watching the stars. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I like watching the stars and looking at the sky and just seeing it so vast and just, you know, it's amazing. Same thing with the ocean, man. Like, I love just looking out at the ocean and just, like, seeing it as flat as the eye can be, you know? There's no curve at all. You can look at any side and you can just see just continuous flat plane. And there should be curvature if you're, you know, if you understand how the heliocentric model works. You're supposed to be able to see some sort of curvature, but there isn't. And they just always say we're too small to see it. But then, you know, people have said, oh, yeah, see, it's the curvature of the Earth from the plane. But then you get someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson who says, no, you wouldn't be able to see the curvature from the Earth unless you're like way, 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 way up in the sky. Even past that Red Bull, whenever that guy jumped from the edge of space or whatever, that was a fisheye lens. Like, even Neil deGrasse Tyson said, no, that's fisheye lens. You would not be able to see the curvature of the Earth. So even scientists are saying you can't see the curvature of the Earth. But people say you can see it in the plane. Sorry, you're wrong. You are wrong when it comes to that. Sorry, not sorry. But, you know, just don't blindly believe what you've been told. Don't blindly believe everything you hear when it comes to your teachers and stuff. Like, ask questions. You know, it might not go well because they only know the book. They only know what they're supposed to be teaching. And if you get this, like, off the wall question, then they might not take too kindly to that. But ask questions. Be weary. Be be scientific, ask questions, that's what you have to be. That's where the flat earthers come from, is like actual science, and like observable, wanting to be able to test it. A lot of the science that comes from the earth and gravity, all this, it can't be tested. They're just making shit up, and we're supposed to believe it, and it can't be retested. So we want like real science where we're actually able to test stuff and all of that, but it just doesn't seem like it ever happens. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff, but yeah, go check out that Christmas star this evening. It should be like it said, about 45 minutes after sunset. So for here, I think that's around 5:45 in the evening. Yeah, I think we got through it all. It was a good episode. It was good to be back. I know I got to work on some stuff for myself, I gotta get through this mental health stuff. I gotta figure some things out, and yeah, I don't know. I gotta keep this going though. I can't skip a week like that again. I really can't, unless I have some actual stuff going on. But I didn't really have anything going on. I was just not in a good headspace to do this right now. So I'm still really not. I'm just kind of forcing it because I told myself I kind of have to do this. So that's the goal. That's the plan, is to keep it going, keep it moving. Got to figure out a way to make some money. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. Like I said, I have this sense of calm, like everything is going to work out. I don't know how. I don't know with what, but it'll work out. It'll work out, or I'll die, and I don't really care either way, So it doesn't really matter. We'll figure it out. So that is all I got. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, tuning in. Again, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Hit up at _No World Order podcast on Instagram. Check out the latest episode we did. We haven't done an episode in a week. It's going to be 2 weeks now, but Zach's been going through his own thing. Shout out to him, his family, Valerie, his family, all of that, shout out to all of them. Congratulations, by the way. And yeah. But go check out the latest episode. It was the Missing in Panama, Chris Kramer's Lizanne Froon. Just a fascinating, interesting case. It has the most views on YouTube that I've got, and it just continues to climb. So go watch that if you're interested. I thought it was a really interesting case, and it seems like a lot of people are still interested in that case as well. So go check that out. Go check out that video. Go check out at _No World Order podcast on Instagram. And that should be it. I should be back tomorrow for Tuesday Morning Tokes. Probably one of my last Tuesday Morning Tokes, because I don't have any cannabis left. I'm not really going to have any cannabis left after tomorrow or the next couple of days. And I don't have money. So we'll see. If any sponsors want to hook it up, that'd be cool. But yeah, that is it. Until next time, everybody. Peace.